Jamuna Tirabunatari Jeraro Marava Kunjabihari Upjanabalaba Girivanadari Jasoranandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravanatari Jaya Raro Marava Kunjabihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Jaya Raro Marava Kunjabihari Jaya Raro Marava Kunjabihari Jaya Raro Marava Kunjabihari Rara Marava Kunjabihari Jayum Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariva Chikacharya Sitadashishim Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Anantakota Vaishya Vrinda Ki Namchar Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Say Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavandam Ki Mathuradam Ki Dwarkadam Ki Navadipdam Ki Jagannapuridam Ki Chamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samveda Bhakti Vindiki Srila Prabhupada Ki Say Radha Giridhari Ki Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jagaki Gopremanandi. All glory to the Sum of devotees. All glory to the Sum of devotees. All glory to the Sum of devotees. All glory to the divine literacy to see Sri Guru and Gauranga. So where are we? We are on the Yeah. I'm wondering why there we go. So we're in the third canto, chapter 32. So far, so good. And we're on text 31, which there's no purport. What did he write on the board? All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Sudamo Bhagate Dhamraganadi Bisaha Kalanda Sadasham Misha Parano Kododota Narayana Namaskritchandaram Shaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. The Bhagavatam is Vrinda's son that is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness of this age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimadbhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer our respects to the personality of Godhead Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of living Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. I'm thinking that we could open this door just a crack. But if we do this one, that way it doesn't blow on the devotees' cold air, let's open this one. Just a little bit fresh air. So there's an oxygen level to keep everyone awake. Iti etat katitam gurvi jnanam tad brahma darshanam yena nubudyate tattvam prakrite purushasya cha iti etad katitam gurvi jnanam tad brahma darshanam yena nubudyate tattvam prakrite purushasya cha iti etat katitam gurvi jnanam tad brahma darshanam yena nubudyate tattvam prakrite purushasya cha iti etad katitam gurvi jnanam tad brahma darshanam yena nubudyate tattvam prakrite purushasya cha iti etat katitam gurvi jnanam tad brahma darshanam yena nubudyate tattvam prakrite purushasya cha iti etat katitam gurvi jnanam tad brahma darshanam yena buddhite tattvam prakrite purushasya cha iti etad katitam gurvi jnanam tad brahma darshanam yena nubudyate tattvam prakrite purushasya cha Vaishnavi iti etad katitam gurvi jnanam tad brahma darshanam yena nubudyate tattvam prakrite purushasya cha. My dear respectful mother, I have already described the path of understanding the absolute truth. by which one can come to understand the real truth of matter and spirit and their relationship. And the next verse, hey, what is this? I have an uncooperative device. Jnana yogas chaman nishto nagunyo bhakti lakshana tvayorapeka evarto bhagawatsaptaha lakshana. Philosophical research culminates in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After achieving this understanding, when one becomes free from the material modes of nature, he attains the stage of devotional service. Either by devotional service directly or by philosophical research, one has to find the same destination, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Also you say, philosophical research culminates in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After achieving this understanding, when one becomes free from the modes of material nature, he attains the stage of devotional service, either by devotional service directly or by philosophical research. One has to find the same destination, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that after many, many lives of philosophical research, the wise man ultimately comes to the point of knowing that Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is everything, and therefore he surrenders unto him. Such serious students in philosophical research are rare because they're very great souls. If by philosophical research one cannot come to the point of understanding the Supreme Person, then his task is not finished. His search and knowledge is still to be continued until he comes to the point of understanding the Supreme Lord in devotional service. The opportunity for direct touch with the Personality of Godhead is given in Bhagavad Gita, where it is also said that those who take to other processes, namely the process of philosophical speculation and mystic yoga practice, have much trouble. After many, many years of much trouble, a yogi or wise philosopher may come to him, Krishna, capital H, but his path is very troublesome, whereas the path of devotional service is easy for everyone. One can achieve the result of wise philosophical speculation simply by discharging devotional service. And unless one reaches the point of understanding the Personality of Godhead by his mental speculation, all his research work is said to be simply a labor of love. The ultimate destination of the wise philosopher is to merge into the impersonal Brahman. But that Brahman is the effulgence of the Supreme Person. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 14:27, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amrityasya yasya cha. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is indestructible and the supreme bliss. The Lord is the supreme reservoir of all pleasure, including Brahman pleasure. Therefore, one who has unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead is said to be already realized in the impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. Om Ganatamarandasya Gyanagana Salakaya Jakshushan Militangena Tazare Shri Gurave Namha. It is said sometimes that you may have heard that religion, of course we're not talking religion, we're talking truth, eternal, axiomatic principles of truth. We're not talking that you have to come on Friday or you come Saturday or you come Sunday, and we're not talking about the details of a specific religious practice, but the underlying core principles universal to them all. But that said, they sometimes say that religion is anyone know Karl Marx? I think it's Karl Marx. It's the opiate of the people. You know what that opiate of the people, what he means by that? Anybody other than Dravida, want to hazard a guess? What is an opiate? It's a drug. Yeah, it dulls the pain bewilders. Just one is lulled into a false stupor of so-called happiness. So you guys go ahead. You believe there's a man in the sky and that there's an eternal soul, and, you know, whistle past the graveyard and miss the real truth. So, and that we're escaping from the hard truths of life. But what are the hard truths of life? They'll present the war in Syria, or poverty in the Mississippi Delta, or, you know, whatever it is, you know. The 1%, 99%, they have all their hard truths. But that's not the final backstop. What are the core existential angsts? Is it angst? Can we have a plural of angst? Running through human existence. Suppose your mind is miffed because there were only 2 burritos for breakfast and you wish you had 3. All right, so you're thinking about that's a problem. And I can understand in a certain dimension it's a problem. But what if all of a sudden, as you're meditating on how you wish you had 3 of cannibalized burritos and only got 2, the building catches on fire? What happens to your burrito angst? What happens, Balaram? It's right out the window. It's been eclipsed. Burnt ashes. Well done. It's eclipsed by a higher... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I got a bigger problem here. So what are the real problems? That is the warp and woof. You know, if you ever seen a weaver, any weavers in the house? I forget which one is the warp and which one is the woof. Like longitude and latitude. You know, that's the... If you ever flip over a Persian rug, or an Oriental rug, or a hand-knotted rug, you'll see the warp and woof on the back of the thing. You'll see the... And it actually rests on that. You pull out one of those white threads, and the whole thing just becomes a bundle of yarn, you know? So, birth, death, disease, old age. Those are the big 4. The elephants in the room that crush all things. And people think, well, that's just life. You know? Suppose, it's not the right, I'm trying to think of the right example, but, you know, suppose you had a metal shard that went right through your arm, it's sticking halfway through your arm, sticking out both sides. You see those guys with the, you know, fake arrow sticking through their head with a hat on, you know? So I suppose you got a shard going through your arm. And somebody say, you say, hey, man, this really hurts. Say, it's just life, just deal with it. Well, okay, but what if you could pull it out and solve the thing? Well, wouldn't that be a smarter act? Is it intelligent just to say, well, you know, that's just life. You just have to live with it, you know? You've got to, I don't know, I can't think of another example off the top of my head. But the point is there that what if there actually is a solution? Because those are, people will, you know, if you get a reasonable person, well, really, okay, I can't think of any bigger problems than birth, death, disease, and old age. Those pretty much are the baseline of anxiety and fear and the whole business in this world. So they say that it is an opiate. They say that it is a delusion. But let's look at it for a moment. What if there actually is? And that's the message from all the great thinkers of the world, great acharyas, great teachers, universally, that wait a minute, you're going for the small potatoes. There's a solution here. Prabhupada tells a story about a king who wanted to, somehow he got in his head that he wanted to feed for free all the lazy men in his kingdom. So he had a proclamation, any lazy men, you come here, we'll feed you for free. So you can imagine the whole tent filled up, so many people. It became quite an expensive burden on the king. So the king was thinking, wait a minute, these people can't all be lazy. You know, there's got to be a few hangers on and, you know, what do you call it, moochers, whatever the word is. So he turned to his prime minister and said, what do I do? His prime minister said, I'll take care of it. So he lit the pandal tent on fire. You may picture a big, you know, beautiful wedding tent, pandal tent, all these people crowded in there, and the tent catches on fire. Everybody runs out except for two guys. One of them looks up and says, hey, you know, tent's on fire. The other guy says, but this khichdi is so nice, just turn your back. You know how when it's fire, you just turn your back a little bit to get away from the heat, you know? So the king concluded, these two men I'll feed. They're too lazy to even run out of a burning tent. They're qualified. Everybody else can take care of themselves, you know? So people are too lazy. They're just, you know. But what if there actually is a solution? And all the great saints and sages say that there is. All the really smart people. Somebody was saying, who mentioned the other, you know, if you look at all the religious, you look at all the, you know, religions, they're always fighting. You get the Muslims going after the Jews, and you get the, you know, what, who else? You got the Buddhists going after the Hindus in Sri Lanka. You got the Protestants going after the Catholics, and, you know, used to be, you know, if you look through time, 100 Years' War, the Protestants and the Catholics, you know, it's religion. That's the cause of all this animosity. Well, you know who the three biggest killers in the last 100, certainly 70 years are? Hitler, Mao, and Stalin. Millions, tens of millions of people. Actually, Hitler's small potatoes compared to Mao and Stalin. And they're hardcore atheists. So they throw out so many things that they're not really thoughtful. And our point is, you know, in the verse it says to understand the real truth of matter and spirit and their relationship. Matter is one category. Spirit, and what's their relationship? What's their interaction? When I was a kid, I used to make models. So I think certainly at my age, do these people even make models anymore? Is it? They're not all locked into electronic. They probably do it. No. Listen, my grandson does this. They create their models on their computers. They create, you know, whatever it is. But in the old days, when you got a model, if you actually did it right, what was the first thing you did? Well, they take out the instructions. When all else fails, read the instructions. What's the other one? When all else fails, make sure it's plugged in. But the, you know, you lay everything out. You lay out all the parts. Do I have everything? Where can I see everything? You lay it all out. Then you look at the instructions. How does it all fit together? And then once you laid it all out, you put it all together, then you play with it. You know, you complete the thing and you play with it. The Vedas say sambandha, abhideya, prayojana. Sambandha means to understand. It's the basis. Sankhya Yoga is the detailed explanation of it. But you lay everything out. What is prakriti? What is the material nature? What is karma? What is time? It lays out all the factors. It breaks down the 25 elements, the working senses, active, knowledge acquiring senses. Everything's laid out. And it's like, picture that, you got an overview. Okay, wait a minute, this is what's going on. I'm not this body. I'm the soul within. And wait a minute, the brain is the vehicle, the instrument for consciousness. Consciousness is not a result of brain function. Consciousness is because the soul is present. I mean, is this the source of my brain, of my thought process? I'm using it, I'm working through it. If it crashes, well, geez, what am I going to say? I have to tell a few jokes, make a few things up. What am I going to do? So I need it. It's my medium through which I'm working. If it fails, I can become inert, stumped, stunned. But it's nothing. It's just pluses and minuses, zeros and ones, computer code. It's got nothing to do with my consciousness. My consciousness is completely independent. So my point is that the Vedas, they lay everything out, Vedic thought. And then so that's sambandha. What is everything? Then how does it all fit together? That's called abhideya. You understand what it is, and you put it together and start working it. Wait a minute. I'm not the body, I'm the soul. We'll get into some other stuff in a minute, hopefully. And as a result of that, there's prayojana. Anyone other than Dravida know what prayojana means? The third stage. Sambandha is to understand what is it? And then abhideya is the function. How does it all work? How does it all fit together? And then prayojana means goal, or sometimes it's translated as fruit. What is, you plant a seed, the tree grows, you water it. Well, what's the whole purpose? We've got this rose apple, which is now, it's established after a couple years, and it's going to start pumping out fruit. It's covered with flowers now, So you want to get the fruit. So here it's describing what are my actual that the Srimad Bhagavatam is real. It's addressing the core, real issues of human existence. And it's laying it all out. It's telling how it all fits together. And what is the fruit? What is the sign that someone is actually advancing in spiritual life? Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. What is the sign? It's right, it says right there. But not that you just become neutral. Let me ask you a question. You have a number line. Everybody knows a number line? Negative numbers, 0, and what's the rest of the number line? So all the positive numbers. Is it successful to come to 0? Is that the full experience of mathematics, arithmetic? No, there's the whole positive side of the thing. Most people live in the negative world. They're just trying to dig their way out of this. If they can get their tail to Walmart and back without getting mugged, that's a success, But, and therefore they're just, problem, resolution, problem resolution, stimulus response, like Pavlov's dogs, And then finally they just get ground down and, become senile and drop dead at 80 if they're lucky, if Trump doesn't cut health care, which is sawing away at. So, but wait a minute. And the Buddhists, the impersonalists, that whole class, they come to 0. Either that I just become neutral, or that I become, the desire to become desireless, which one should note is a self-centered desire. Desire is causing me pain. Let me become free from desire. So isn't the desire to become desireless a self-centered desire? Sort that one out. You're thinking about what's the sound of one hand clapping. Think about that one. The desire to become desireless is a self-centered desire. So what's the whole positive? Prabhupada, one of the two momentous events in my budding spiritual life, which is still budding. I'm still a neophyte, but certainly in the very beginning, 1969, I heard Prabhupada say, he was reading Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's narration for Brahma Samhita. To that, I forget what verse, is it the Chintamani verse? Whatever. Maybe it's just the intro. But he says, the devotees have no desire to fulfill. Because desire entangles us. Desire's a whole, action, reaction. Once it's like, I don't know if they still know what tar baby is, like quicksand. Once you get in it, you just get into, you get stuck in a, I can't think of the right example. I'm thinking of fly paper, but it's a ghastly example. But, you can't, once you get in it, you just get completely entangled and stuck, and you try to solve that, but that creates... I remember seeing, and I appreciate the sentiment, there were some, look at the time, there were some, what are they? Jains. I was a kid. I used to love National Geographic, and there was, Jains are, their core thing is nonviolence. So, every time you breathe, you kill so many microbes, you light up a stick of incense, you burn so many, there go who knows how many living entities. Every time you step, there's some little bug crawling. So I saw a picture of a Jain master, and he had a mask on, so he wasn't breathing, and he was in National Geographic. I was a kid. I thought, well, that's interesting. And then he had somebody sweeping in front of him so that he wasn't stepping on any bugs. But I thought, well, hang on a minute. That's just his agent. His agent is stepping on bugs. We got to have somebody sweep in front of him. Well, then you got to have somebody sweep. So I remember my little pea brain, I was thinking, well, the only way that would really work is if you just went in a circle. Then you wouldn't be stepping on it. Your first round, you'd squeeze a few. But after that, but you're not going to get anywhere. So I thought, well, forget that philosophy. So... what was I going to... so just to come to zero or negation. Okay, I have no desire to fulfill. Maybe I come to the point of having no karma. I come to the point of nirvisesha or sunyavadi. But the second part of that narration by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, which Prabhupada is reading on the Happening album, which has the Hare Krishna chanting on it, the devotees have no desire to fulfill. Okay, that made sense to me. But, and then I was thinking, well, what about this, what do you call it, Jain guy going in a circle? That's really not the answer. And Prabhupada said, still they have variegated transcendental desires to satisfy their Lord in loving service. So no material desire. But they have full of transcendental desires. What does that mean, transcendental desires? To satisfy their Lord in loving service. I thought, there you go. That's the answer. That's the answer. Because you can't... Prabhus, who can I put on the spot? I'll put Damodar Kumar on the spot because he's peaceful. Don't think about the color red, Damodar. Don't think about it. I'll say to all of you, don't think about the color red. Balaram, don't think about the color red. Elena, don't think about the color red. How's that working out? Red, 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 red. That's what's ringing in your... You can't help it. But if I tell you, if I say red, then I say blue. What happens to red? Red's gone. You think about blue. Green. Okay, green. So if we become so in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in the introduction to it, Prabhupada says, he gives a translation of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita is the apex of spiritual understanding, the biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, absolute, complete nectar. And the summary study of that, just like Krishna book is summary study of srimadbhagavatam, 10th canto, so the summary study of Chaitanya Charitamrita is the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And it's somewhere in the intro, Prabhupada says, he gives the translation of Chaitanya Charitamrita is the activity of the life force and immortality. And that was another one of the things that just rocked my boat. The activity. Okay, the soul is active. It's not to become to zero, but the activity of the life force, the soul, in immortality. What are the eternal activities of the eternal soul? Anyone know? I hope so. Hey, way to go! Service to Krishna. One of our kids, not my kids, but one of our ISKCON kids, who's probably about 40 plus now, Dwarkadish, Prabhupada called him Mr. DDD. He used to write to Prabhupada that he used to take old japatis to the park and feed them to the ducks. And Prabhupada wrote back, I am very pleased to know about your prasadam distribution program. Prabhupada was encouraging him, you know. So he wrote a poem. As long as we're so far off track and running out of time, I used to, when I would come to the temple, I was a student, and I used to keep my bills in one pocket and my change in another pocket. That was my filing system. And the habit when you came to the temple, it was the old LA temple, was they had a bowl or a whatever plate. Yeah, but it was a little indented. So, and everybody used to give a little something. When you come into the temple, you'd give a little something. And they'd have a little, like we have this Q-tip with the scented oil offered to the deity. So you get a little something, a little prasad. So Dwarkadish was usually the one doing this. And I would give change. In my defense, I used to give a couple dollars in change, which, you know, 1970, inflation wasn't chump change, but, you know, I didn't give the bills. I gave some change. So after doing this a couple times, little Dwarkadish couldn't have been over 6, 7 years. Could not have been over 7, probably 6. After doing this a couple times, he tapped my pocket with the coins, and then he tapped my pocket with the bills, and said to me, Krishna doesn't see what you give. He sees what you keep. And I was so impressed. I was embarrassed. I thought, the kid figured out my system and just busted me, completely busted me in a sweet, and made a good philosophical point. I said, this kid is far out. So Krishna doesn't see what you keep. What you give, he sees what you keep, you know. So we think, oh, I'm giving to Krishna, you know. So, but he wrote a poem. That's what got me launched on Dwarkadish. He wrote a little poem that Prabhupada liked. And it went like this. I can only remember one sutra. It said, instead of loving just a dog or a cat, why not love Krishna, who made all of that? I'll say it again. Instead of loving just a dog or a cat, why not love Krishna, who made all of that? Fantastic. We're going to love something. We're going to love, we personify everything. People talk to their computer. You think it's going to, of course, I guess they do have computers that answer now. But anyway, Sia, whatever it is, and the other one, Alexis, or whatever it is, you know. So, but we personify everything. We talk to a hammer. You talk to, you know, Lucille. You know, who's that guy? Yeah, who's the guy? But Muddy Waters. Is it no, B.B. King named his guitar Lucille. So we personify everything. Why? Because that's our nature, our very essential nature. So let's see. I just want to give you 2 simple pictures, and then we'll end. And mostly for the new devotees. Well, just because I saw it here. Jayadvaita Swami, wonderful devotee. He was visiting here sometime, you know, many, many years ago. And there was a yoga class. And they were all into, you know, you guys believe in bhakti. And that's a good place to begin. You know, because, you know, you experience everything as form, and you're not too bright. Therefore, you know, you personify God. And you've got some statue there, and you repose your love in that statue, and okay, fine, you know. But as you advance, you'll realize that it's all one, and it's all beyond form, and you know, like that. We've all heard that line before. I've got it backwards, actually. So this group, thinking like that, asked Jayadvaita Swami. You know, it came questions and answers. They could have asked, fantastic lecture by Jayadvaita Swami. They could have asked so many things. But what did their teacher ask? What is the significance of the fountain? Of course, the fountain is not currently manifest, but you know, that fountain is usually there. What is the purpose of that fountain? And they wanted some, you know, it represents the harmony in the universe and how we're all one in sound, whatever. Jayadvaita Swami said, the purpose of the fountain is it makes a very pleasing sound, very pleasing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead who's standing behind the fountain. They hadn't even seen Radha Krishna, Radha Giridhari. They just merged in the burbling sound of the fountain. But the whole purpose of the fountain is it gives pleasure to Krishna, who has transcendental senses. He likes it, you know. So, the two examples I wanted to give, Prabhupada's examples, and we'll end. Suppose you're walking behind somebody. You're not stalking them. They're walking, you're walking, happen to be going in the same direction. And their wallet falls out of their back pocket. Now, note this point. There's three ways that you can respond. Now, one way to respond is to take the money and run. No witnesses. Of course, the sun is the witness, the moon is the witness, the wind is the witness, the 10 directions are the witness, the devas are the witness. Nothing goes unseen. But anyway, if you're thinking, hey, no cops, nobody around, think, hey, pennies from heaven. Grab that wallet. Is that the right response? Yeah, I hope you're not, there's no hesitation in the matter. In that case, I'm locking my doors. No. And you're in anxiety. Did anybody see me? Every time a police car. Prabhupada tells a story that there was something happened in a village. Prabhupada was visiting. And I think his friend's house was robbed. Something happened. And Prabhupada was walking with the police constable to the house. And as they were walking through the village, 3 guys came around the corner, saw Prabhupada with a policeman, turned around and took off like jackrabbits. So Prabhupada said to the policeman, what is that? And the policeman said, they must have been up to something. It happens all the time. As soon as they saw the cop, you know, then they split because they had a guilty conscience. So this man's wallet falls on the ground, you pocket it. You're in anxiety. You think, well, you know, what if somebody saw me? A policeman knocks at my door. He may just be asking for, I don't know what, a donation to the policeman's benevolent league or whatever it is. You know, you think, oh, geez, they've caught me. I jump out the back window. Or so you're in anxiety. And what to speak if you understand karma. So that's not the right thing. Now, what's another reaction that's not the right thing? Just ignore it. I don't want to get involved. Maybe he'll think that I'm trying to pick his pocket, or I'll have to file a police report, or, you know, he's going to, you know, I'm not getting involved. Is that the right reaction? No. What do you think, my friend? Is that the right reaction? Okay. Now, we've got 2 wrong reactions. That we had 3 options. Do you know what anyone want to, other than Dravida Prabhu and Balaram? Yeah, my friend. You give it back to him. You're right. You pick up the wallet and say, hey, buddy, here's your wallet. You drop your, and they think, oh, jeez, what a nice guy. Maybe you get a reward. But not that you're motivated. So you give it back. So one school of thought is that just enjoy this world. Squeeze out whatever we can, whatever falls in front of our senses. Like a little kid, they stick everything in their mouth. So the body's got 9 gates. So we want to see something, taste something, touch something. Just go for it. That's like take the money and run. Where did it come from? Who does it really belong to? What if there's an owner? What if there's a cause of all causes? What if there's a purpose? What if there's a plan? What if Ishavashidam Sarvam? What if it belongs to somebody else and I should only take my quota? I'm not going to want just enjoy. And anyone know who the person is who ignores it? What's the analogy there? Other than Dravida. Anyone want to hazard a guess? Who is, in the purport that we've been reading, who is the person who just says, I don't want to get involved, I don't want to get entangled, I'm not going to do anything? The impersonalist. The yogi, they just want to go sit in a Himalayan cave or some monastery somewhere on top of a mountain and just, I'm not getting involved. It's wrong. Actually, it's wrong. You don't even own this body. We don't have a right not to do anything. It's not my body. It's Krishna's body. Who is it? Sanatana Goswami wanted to commit suicide because he was covered with itching sores. Chaitanya said, wait, I have many things I want to do with that body. It's not yours. This isn't our body. This isn't our mind. It isn't our consciousness. We don't have a right not to do anything, frankly. Huh? Arjuna, way to go. Arjuna. Yeah, you have to fight. You have to do your duty for the pleasure of Krishna. So who is the person who gives the wallet back? Huh? The devotee. The bhakta. This building was at one time a factory. It was an Elks Lodge. Elks are famous for drinking. Had a free bar inside for the Elks members, and they would get pickled, drunk as a skunk, tanked to the gills. It was an Elks Lodge. It was a movie theater. It was a factory. Originally, it was an army barracks. This building was built by the Army Corps of Engineers in the 1930s. It's the same building. It's the same walls. What's the difference? Huh? This could be a karaoke. What's it called? Karaoke machine. I could be singing. I'll spare you the example, but what makes this mic different? I'm using it for Krishna. So that's the person who gives the wallet back. That's one analogy. That's the right activity. And then one's fearless, one's happy. The guy says, oh, thanks, man. Becomes your friend. Last analogy, and we will end. A train is coming to a village in India for the first time. Just to wake you up, there's a quick joke. Two guys are standing on a platform in India. Anyone who's been to India can understand. The one guy's complaining. Everything's late. Everything's spaced out. What's wrong with this country? Even Mussolini got the trains that run on time in Italy. What is this place, you know? So the guy's griping and moaning. But then the Rajdhani Express, supposed to come at 10 o'clock in the morning, pulls right in at 10 o'clock. So the other guy says, just you're griping and complaining, but look, the train arrived right on time. The griper and complainer says, that's yesterday's train. Ha ha ha, it's a true story. So the train is coming to a village for the first time. They've never seen a train. So everybody, you know, they all turn out. Everybody wants to say, well, what is this, you know? And it's coming Indian Standard Time, Indian Stretchable Time, so it's late. And way, way off, they hear a whistle. Woo, 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 woo. So some of the people, they've been waiting there all day. They want to get home and have lunch or whatever. They bail. They say, well, I've seen the train. It's a whistle. Nothing to write home about. Are they right or wrong that the train is a whistle? They're correct. It's just incomplete. The train is, an aspect of the train is the whistle. So they're correct. They're incomplete. So they go home and tell me, hey, the train's a whistle. Okay, fine. Now, some other people wait a little bit longer. By this time, it's nighttime. They hear woo, 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 and way off they see a light. So by this time, it's time for dinner. They go home, and they say the train is a whistle and a light. Are they wrong? They're partially correct. Now, two guys say, well, hang on a minute. The whistle and the light are coming from somewhere. And as long as we've blown the whole day, we might as well wait and see what happens. And lo and behold, the form of the train pulls in. And it's a whistle and a light, and it's a what do you call it, the locomotive? Yeah, what do they call the head thing? Is it really? Okay. Okay, whatever. And they see all the other bogies, as they say in India, or all the other, cars, and there's a caboose, and everybody gets off, there's a conductor. So they say, it's a whistle, it's a light, and it's the actual train. Now they have the full understanding. So we understand, they've got it backwards. The devotee fully comprehends God is present everywhere. He's in every atom. Everything is God. We understand that. Like everything is sunlight, but still there's the sun globe, and there's Vivishwan there. So we also understand the Paramatma, that God is present as the driving force in all things. That's the whistle and the light. But we also, what is it, Bhagavan, what is it? Parameti, Brahmaneti, Parameti, Bhagavaneti, Shabhyate. We understand all three stages. That Bhagavan is the full picture. So that's just a skim on this verse, and we're over time. So, and I don't know if there's burritos today, but I'm sure there'll be something nice. So we'll end. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.